Incredible greetings. Hello, everyone. Incredible greetings. How are you guys doing? It's Memorial Day, so maybe some of you guys are off and you'll be able to hop on the live and join me if you're not able to catch my lives any other time because you are at work. So hopefully some of you guys have the day off and you can spend some time with the professor. We're going to spend a little time in Silhouette Studio and recreate a design because it is pixelated. So sometimes this is what we end up having to do with our designs to make them better versions of themselves. So with this one, I'm going to use a lot of edit points. We're going to replicate some things so that I can recreate this design because when it was sent to me, there's a lot of jagged edges and it's just not ideal. So we're going to clean this up. So if you are interested in learning about Silhouette Studio and just seeing how some of the tools and functions work, this is a great opportunity because you're going to see me click on and utilize quite a few tools and functions within Silhouette Studio. As always, if you have questions, feel free to go ahead and post them as a question. Post them in the comment section as we go through this. All right. So just give me a moment to go ahead and share this out, and then we'll get started. I just purchased Silhouette to make designs. Awesome. Now, if you guys don't know, when it comes to Silhouette Studio, it is the program that was created to control the Silhouette Cameo machines. These are cutter machines that can cut paper, vinyl, HTV, things like that. However, you do not need a machine in order to use Silhouette Studio. Silhouette Studio is actually a standalone graphic designing software. So you can think of it along the lines of your illustrators, your Corel Draws, your Affinity designers. And then it has some, aspects in it that are Photoshop-esque, like the image, the image tools and adjustments. So you can change like your saturation, your contrast, your gamma, make it grayscale. You can change the hue and things like that. So there are some Photoshop-esque type features within the software, but it's really a vector base. It's to create vector, or as you guys will commonly call it in the crafting world, SVGs. Okay. And the program is completely free to use. The majority of the features are in the free version, and you can do a lot from the free version. As a matter of fact, everything that I'm going to do here, except for center of rotation, is going to be done basically using tools and functions within the free version of Silhouette Studio. But you can upgrade and get things like Designer Edition or Business Edition. There's also Designer Edition Plus, but I think that's just a waste of space. So you can get those and they unlock additional features. I'm sorry. I told a big fat fib. For this particular one, I am also going to use the Layers tab so that I can rearrange these leaves. And that is a Designer Edition or above feature. So those are the two things that I'm going to use that require it. But you would still be able to do this particular project without it. It's just going to take a little bit more work if you don't have Designer or Business. So she says, I don't have a machine either. Just brought it because I was tired of DS. Yeah. And, it's a lot of like the steps to accomplish things in Silhouette Studio. It's a lot less steps for a lot of different things. So let me go ahead and get this shared out, guys, and then we're going to get started. Let's see who all is over here. Incredible morning. Hey. Checking in from Virginia. Incredible morning. Hey, just say hello. Good morning. Thank you guys for jumping on. Jesse is in Cyclone, West Virginia. Thank you so very much. It was two people from Virginia. Good morning, city girl, country world. Hello, how are you? Good morning. I said good. Ooh, child. Incredible morning. She says from coastal Georgia. Hello. Thank you so very much for jumping on the live today. Wait, it wasn't a bit fat fib. It was a mistake, or you just misspoke. Wait, what did I say? I don't even know what I said now. Ha! All right. All right. So let me go ahead and share this out. And let's see. Okay. And with this one, I am actually going, so I'm cleaning this design up because it's going to go onto some drawstring bags with DTF. So I have to clean this up. Um, all right, hold on. Okay, let's see. Copy. Oh, wait. Let's go at everyone. So just give me a moment to go ahead and share this out. So thank you guys. Oh, 365. Dang it. I missed it. I was going to screenshot it. Thank you guys for double tapping the screen over here on TikTok. Make sure that you guys do like the video. Give the video a thumbs up. Share the video. Tag a friend in it. All right. Let's see. More options. Share to a group. So I'm just sharing this out, and then we are going to get started. This is one of, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One of 6 designs I have to do today. So yeah. Let's see. Uh-oh, I didn't mean to do it that way. Share option, share to a group. Share option, share to a group. Boom, there we go. All right. We are going to get started. Incredible morning, UBP Prince. Thank you so much for jumping on. Shawnee, hello from Alabama. And DeWitt, thank you for joining the live from Louisiana. Thank you guys so very much. But spend a little bit of time. Are y'all doing some barbecues today, or did y'all do that over the weekend? Let's see. Thank you so very much. All right, so I've actually already traced this, which is right here. So I'm gonna actually just do it. I'm just gonna go ahead and just do it again. Let's just go in here. We're gonna delete that just so you guys can see it from the beginning. So the reason why I have to do this one, it's more so not necessarily the font. That's pretty good, but we're still gonna have to trace that so that we can fill that in with, you know, a gradient also, because it does whatever it was designed in and saved from. This is lets you know when something is a low quality PNG, and it was saved kind of like a lot of times, like if you use remove.bg and you're not paying for it, you'll get this saving from different websites where you create, like you're designing your mockup, like this will happen, and it has this gray line around it. So of course, I don't want that to show up, because if you print it, that gray line will show up. So I will need to trace it so that I can just fill it in with my own metallic or like gradient fill. So we're gonna, you know, eventually focus on that, just not right now. The main part of this, because this up here, I'll just be able to trace and then fill it in with color or patterns or gradients. But it's the leaves, and you can see how jagged those are, and the tree trunk that are jagged. So we have to clean that up. Okay. All righty. So we're going to start with tracing this. So we're going to go to the icon on the right hand side that looks like a little butterfly. Select trace area, place our box around it. And it's going to, of course, pick up those darker colors first. I could actually, you know what? I think I am going to stop here, because I can always come back and do the rest of it, because I really don't need the words right now. I need to focus on the tree trunk and the leaves. So we're going to actually go right there, and I'm just going to go ahead and hit trace, not trace and detach. Most will, I do find that a lot of people, like when you see an image like this and it's like color, I've heard some people say like, oh, that's like you automatically trace and detach. And that's not always the case. You have to understand what it is that you're trying to do with the image. So trace and detach is something that I would do. Like if I wanted to remove the background, or if I wanted to maybe do like a print and cut, and I'm going to use this image as is. However, I am not planning to use this image as is. I need to clean it up and make it a better version of like the vector file. So I need to do a trace of it, not a trace and detach. Make sense? So now I'm going to click on that trace. And how I know I have the trace, the box is smaller. That was another reason why I did not trace the whole thing. Like that's another indicator, especially if you're new. So when I clicked on it the first time, the box pretty much took up the whole thing. And if I trace the whole thing, you know, as a newbie, sometimes, and I'm pretty sure this happens to you guys, you trace it, you click on the wrong thing fills in with color. So by me tracing just the tree, when I click on it and I see that line drop down, I know that I have just the trace. And all of my students know we fill it in with color. That's the first thing that I do, is fill it in with color. Next thing that I always do, let's see, who knows the professor? Once we trace, we fill something in with color. What is the next thing that the professor always recommends that you do? I'm waiting for a few more before I say it. Some of you guys have said it. Looking for some answers from over there on YouTube. Oh, that's a good one though. Definitely should do that, especially mess around with Silhouette Studio. We really should do that one. But yes, we actually, who was the first? Yeah, you were the first. Over here on TikTok, yes, we duplicate. Exactly. Nope. So before we even release Compound Path, we duplicate. So we've already changed the color. So y'all know that's my first thing is to change the color. And then we duplicate. I always recommend duplicating your traces, just in case, like, there's like some major issues or whatever. You don't want to have to go back and repeat those steps. So like I said, I always recommend that you duplicate. All right. Do I give one-on-one sessions? Yes, we do. All right. So I'm just going to take the whole thing and just duplicate it, because I didn't do a duplicate of that one. And we're just going to group that off. And let's go ahead and do what Daryl said, and let's save this. So we're going to go File, Save As, Save to Hard Drive. I am a long, I do long titles because I don't really like organize files and put them here. I have a WD My Cloud. I do have, different drives within my cloud. Like now it says Elite Printed Creations because that's what the business name was before. So I have that one, and we have the one that's for Silaholics Anonymous and HSINK, like the business file. I have one that's for my academy. I have one that just says Silaholics Anonymous and things like that. So I pretty much just save them all in one space, but I create long titles so that it's easier for me to search. So we're just going to put Family Tree Recreation. Right? Okay, so I really don't need all of these leaves because I need to recreate them, and I want them to be as smooth as possible. So I can technically release Compound Path, but I don't want to have to deal with all of this right here and removing all of that. So first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and double click to bring up my edit points. Hold down the Shift key, and I'm just going to drag and select over all of these points, and then hit delete point to get rid of those. And then I'll release Compound Path. Okay, wait. I think Silhouette Studio is going to act foolish on me. I need to, okay, wait. Let's do this. I can already see it's going to act. I still have my designs up from yesterday, and my hard drive is kind of full right now because I was transferring files and saving them to what that thing is called, a Google Drive. So I was backing up some files, and right now the Google Drive and my hard drive are synced. So it's like everything that's in my hard drive and the Google Drive are appearing like they're in my hard drive. So my hard drive is showing as full, but it's really not. So right now my computer's acting a little wonky, acting a little slow. Okay, but that's acting way crazy. All right. I'm going to close out and open back up because it's just acting funky. Do I want to save this? Yes. And then we're going to come right back in. So now's a great time to ask any questions that you guys have. It's also a great time for a shameless plug and a commercial. We are the home of the Honestly Speaking brand of products. If you did not know that, we carry the absolute best sublimation ink and paper. With our sublimation paper, you can sublimate as low as 365 degrees, as fast as 30 seconds. The joy of our paper, especially if you are someone who is new and you're a beginner, is you don't have to remember all of these different settings. You pretty much can forget what like the manufacturer says. a lot of people say it's based off of, like, ask the manufacturer, but it's also, you don't know what paper they're using. Your paper really determines what settings you are going to use when sublimating. So with our paper, it doesn't matter if it's fabric, MDF, metal, anything on a flat heat press that's not ceramic, slate, or glass, you can actually sublimate at 365 degrees and 30 seconds with pretty much any heat press. You may have, like, if yours is not so great, with your pressure and things, you may have to do like 40 seconds, but you don't have to remember a bunch of different settings. Oh, and acrylic, because acrylic, we go much lower. So that's one of the joys of our paper, is you don't have to remember 30,000 different settings or keep asking, well, hey, what do I use for this? What do I use for that? It's pretty much 365 for just about everything. All right. So definitely check that out. Let's open back up Silhouette Studio. And you can also find our classes here on the site as well. Oh, I didn't know that was still on there. Huh, they pissed me off. I'm hoping they win tonight. I actually need to take that off of the site. Anytime they win, the sale is active, but they've lost a couple times. So yeah, I'm a little upset. I'm Miami girl. But our most popular class, of course, is our 30-day training. It goes over every single tool and function of Silhouette Studio, and it breaks down what their basic uses are so that you can understand them better. It's going to help you understand YouTube videos, YouTube tutorials. You will definitely see YouTube tutorials that drove you crazy before. After completing this, they're going to make a little bit more sense to you, because you won't feel like they're moving so fast, and you'll kind of understand what they're doing. And it'll help you then, and also like our design classes as well. All right, so this is back up. I'm not using any machines right now, but I am using Silhouette Studio, which is a design software, and I'm using that to recreate a design. Well, Silhouette Studio is not like Cricut Design Space. It is not connected. Like, everyone's is not connected to where if one person's having an issue, someone else will. Because you download it specifically to your computer, whatever issues you are having is going to be isolated to your computer only, unless it's something like accessing your library and anything that might be saved on their cloud. But as far as the functionality of the program itself, it's always going to be based off of your computer. All right, let's go over here and go recent family tree recreation. All right. I just think it's a lot of edit points on here. Okay, why didn't my edit points pop up? All right, that's okay. Okay, that's weird. Delete point. Yeah, I think it's also the fact that this has 30 million edit points on it. Okay, so I got rid of that part. And okay, nope. So I think it is all of the edit points. But you'll see that it'll move a lot better once we don't have like this many edit points. So what we're going to do is release compound path on this. So I'm going to, come on, click on it. We're going to release compound path. I only want the trunk and one leaf. So I want the actual tree branches and trunk. Well, not the trunk, because that's really the bottom. So I just want the branches, the body of the tree, and one leaf. That's all I need. So I'm going to hold down shift. I'm going to click on the tree and one leaf, and I'm going to delete everything else. All right. So now I'm going to go over to my layers panel. I'm going to add a layer to the top. I'm going to open up this layer. I'm going to click on my branch and my leaf, and I'm going to right click and tell it to bring to the front, which means it's going to push it up to layer 2. I'm going to collapse this layer and I'm going to lock it because I don't need it. I'm just going to use it as a reference point. So let's do the easy one first. We're going to clean up the leaf. We're going to double click. Right, double click. And I really don't need, I actually don't even know why I kept the leaf, because that's actually going to make it a lot harder to design. I don't even know why I kept this. I'm going to show you over here. So we're going to go to the, we can either do draw polygon, or I can start with a circle. So I'm just going to make an oval. I like to fill things in with color. I'm going to rotate this. And then we're going to double click. We're going to take our point here, bring it out, take this one, bring it to the tip here. Oh, I forgot to reduce my transparency so I can see through it. We're going to double click. We're going to take this edit point, bring it out to the side, take this one and bring it out to the side. Almost there, but not quite. So we're going to click on the edit point at the top, hold down Shift, click on the one at the bottom, and we're going to turn both of those into corner points so that I can control each handle independently. All right, I'm going to click on one of the other points and then come back. So now I can adjust this one. We can adjust this one. I'm going to give it a little bit more shape than what's there. So I kind of curve this in a little bit. All right, so now there is my cleaned up leaf. Now I have nice smooth lines and they're not jagged. Had I tried to clean this up, this is where a lot of, especially newbies, they get kind of hung up when it comes to Silhouette Studio, because it's very intimidating when you click on this and you have all these points and it's like, you know, a lot of people, their first thought is to try and move these points around. Even if you use Simplify, you're still left with quite a bit of points. So you would have to move this, and then you're going to be adjusting here, adjusting there, trying to pull things out. So sometimes it's not best to try to edit what's there and move around the points. Sometimes it's better just to recreate it, especially for something like this, as like the leaf, in making it just, it's really we use four edit points to create it. And this has all of these other edit points that as you're moving them, it can make it a little bit more difficult to control it and get the shape that you desire. Now for the tree trunk, because now I could go in with my edit points and create my own and, design it, but I am going to try to show it with using the edit points that are there. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this. And also I'm going to actually add another layer. And you can change the names of your layers. So I'm just going to make this one leaves. And we're going to move this up to that one. And I'm going to lock layer 2, which we're just going to name tree base. All right. So we're going to come back up here and I'm going to click on my leaf. Now, if you don't have Designer Edition, you can simply take your leaf and just rotate it. So I think all of these are going to, so this one right here is a little bit off. So all you would have to do is rotate it to get it to somewhat fit and kind of match up what's there, right? Some of them, it's going to really twist and turn and move and all of that stuff. So it's going to be better for me to use my center of rotation to have an anchor point. So what I'm going to do is double click. I'm not double click. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to hit O on my keyboard. That is going to bring up my center of rotation. You can choose the top or bottom point. So we're going to just bring this down to the bottom of the leaf. I'm going to put it right there on the corner. And then I'll be able to use this to pivot and rotate it. I'm going to duplicate this leaf right here. Now you can just make a bunch of duplicates, or we can kind of, you can either count out all the leaves that you need and then just replicate that many, or you can hold down Alt and click a bunch of different times. You can copy and paste a bunch of different times. Okay. So we're going to, I'm going to go, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4. 56 is how many more I need. So I'm just going to come over here to my replicate tool. We're going to go to the plus sign, and I need, what I said, 56 of these. So we're just going to type out 56 and replicate. Okay, did it give me all of them yet? Okay. It did indeed. So I'm just going to place it there and rotate. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect for this. This is a recreation. So this part is going to be very tedious. So while I'm doing this, if you have any questions, now is a, you know what? Now is a great time to ask those questions. And just so that I don't forget which one had all of the ones that need to be changed, we're going to, since that's surrounded by all of them, I'm going to select all of those, and we're actually just going to make them, I don't want to make them green yet. I'm just going to make them purple. So you see it, like I don't have to zoom out. I can stay zoomed. I mean, I don't have to zoom in. I can stay zoomed out. I'm just kind of putting that center rotation close to the edge somewhere, and I'm just going to rotate it. So it's going to make this, I mean, it's of course work, but it'll be a lot faster than if I had to zoom in and out, take down my transparency, or if I was trying to make this line up like exactly and perfectly. I'm not really trying to make it where it's exact. So if it's a little bit off, it is perfectly okay. Thank you guys so very much for double tapping the screen and for all the likes. To me, that means that you are getting something from this live, from this training. This can be set up as a cut file, because what we've done is basically vectorize it so where now it has cut lines. This can be used for laser engraving, laser cutting. This can be used with the CNC machine. This can be for printing. There's no limitations once you vectorize something, because of all the different things that you can that will use paths and vector that can use vector files. But it can be print or um, or cut. All right. So a lot of the leaves are now going to pretty much go like in the other direction, right? So I can keep doing this to where it is a lot of rotating, or I'm going to drag and select this leaf right here, right? I'm going to hold down shift and click once. That is going to leave behind the original leaf that was there. And I'm going to just use my arrow key to move everything else over. I like to just change colors so I know which one I'm moving. And we're just going to move this over yonder. And we're just going to rotate them all. I'm not even going to put it on a leaf. I'm just going to leave it up here. And see, my center rotation doesn't change. It changed and it was in the middle when I had them all selected. But now when I go back to it individually, they are right there. Okay. Well, I mean, so I would duplicate a group of 6 and move them to each area of the design. I mean, you can, but they do all still go in different directions. So you still would have to go in and adjust them individually. So this can be the start of embroidery, because you now have this file and then you would have to have it digitized. But this doesn't have stitch lines so that your embroidery machine will know where to go to stitch. So you would do this and then you would put it in your programs to have it digitized and add all of the stitch count to it. Center of rotation is only available if you have Designer Edition or above. It is not in the free version of Silhouette Studio. It is one of my all-time favorite tools. Thank you. Sorry, I'm doing yard work while listening to the live training. Why are we overlaying the leaves? Because the originals are jagged. Yes, to get rid of the jagged edges. I'll zoom in at some point here and show what they actually look like. So when I get ready to do the last one, I will show you why we are layering over this. So see, it can be a little tedious, but it's not too bad. It's better to go ahead and do these extra steps just to make sure that you have a great file. So it may seem like a lot, but sometimes this is what you have to do. Not every file is going to be ideal and ready to use. Oops, I did not mean to make a duplicate. And man, this center rotation just makes this a breeze versus having to, manually rotate it and figure out the perfect angle. Oh, I had two too many. Oh, wait, I was going to zoom in on the last one. So this is how the leaf is now. So we cleaned it up so that we have nice straight lines. Hit O on your keyboard. So that is how you, like, if you're like, man, how did this get on? If you hit O on your keyboard, it turns it on and off. So if you're not in text mode and you hit O, so like let's say you selected something and you were about to write the word open, but you didn't have the text window open. It also has to be back in the center. So O turns it on and off. All right. So because we put this all on on its own layer, and everything else is locked on a separate layer, I'm able to now just drag and select all of my leaves and group them together. I'm going to turn down my transparency, select the green, and turn my transparency up. They're now all green. So my leaves are now done. I can go over to this layer, lock my leaves, unlock my tree. And we're now going to clean this up. So with this, I'm going to double click and I am going to go to simplify first to see what results it gives me and try and get rid of some of those edit points because it's a lot of them on there. Now, the way that this cleaned this up, it really, I mean, for the most part, it would be okay. Because remember, we are not trying to like recreate it verbatim and exact. Like it's going to be virtually impossible to do. We just want a cleaner version of it. So this really does give me a cleaner version. It's not like quite to the edges, but it's still going to look like it's going to give the same silhouette, the same look. The only thing that we'll have to go in and clean up are where there are like little edit points like right here. And for that one, I'm just going to hit delete point. And, you know, if I want to move anything out or anything like that, I can. So I'm just going to go in and clean up some of these areas, some places where it might need to have a little bit more of an arch. And you can select multiple points by holding down Shift. So this is all we're really doing is just adjusting our edit points. This is supposed to be rounded. I'm just looking for super bumpy areas and I am deleting those points or moving them and adjusting them. Okay, I see a lot of jagged edges in some downloaded files, even if the file is in HD. I was working on a design yesterday and it had jagged edges. So it just really depends because if it's something where you can trace it to recreate it, to fill it in with color yourself, you can do these steps. But if it is a JPEG or a PNG that has shading and things like that, this would not be the ideal solution, because it's just not going to help it, like all the areas in the middle. But this is something where I'm just vectorizing it. Again, this is a great time to ask questions because all I'm doing here is just going in and adjusting edit points. So if not, you'll just hear the click of my mouse, but I am more than happy to answer any other questions about the software, classes, or products that you may have, any troubleshooting or design. That way, it's not just listening to the sound of me click, because this is much of the same. You're not going to learn anything new really from me clicking, but I have to finish this. So we're going to complete it, but there's like nothing spectacular about this part. But this can be a very informative section if you guys ask questions. How to schedule one-on-one. Girl, you blow my mind in this program. You would go to our website, shop.hsink365.com. You would type in the search bar help, and you will see the one-on-one sessions. You then read the description to email us at least 2 to 3 possible dates and times, and I will confirm one and schedule the Zoom session. I don't have like a calendar up there because I'm normally working on different things, so I don't necessarily have a calendar. Like I don't have like set times. If I'm able to, I work from home. I do everything myself. So if I'm able to work within a time that works best for you, I prefer to do that. So you just email, once you book it, you email us with at least 2 or 3 dates and times. It can be the same day and different times on that day. And I will, check it against my schedule and email you back with a Zoom link. Where can I find the class where you did the grad cap? Ooh, I don't know. I did a grad cap. What do you mean? I don't know. You have to give me a little bit more information because I'm not sure. I don't remember doing a grad cap. I designed a grad cap in a class, unless it was something that we did during graduation season during the bachelor's and master's of like last year. I can't think of a class where I specifically did grad caps. Let's see. I don't know what I'm doing when I use the edit points. They're still not my friend. You got to keep practicing. The file was a PNG, so convert the file. Now, not every file can be converted. It just really depends on how it is. If it, like I said, if it's something that has like a lot of shading to it already, you're not going to be able to do this. Like it will be a lot. Like I will, hold on. I'll give you an example. So I'm going to go file, open, baby strawberry shortcake. So I don't even know which one's the original. I think it's this one. Nope, that's not the original. That's not the original. Okay, I'm guessing it was one of these that was the original. But I literally recreated this by creating shapes, subtracting, welding, cropping, modifying, and you can see here all of the different lines that was used to vectorize this. So it's not as simple as just changing it to an SVG. To make something an SVG, it has to be, for lack of better words, traced or created with shapes that you are able to fill in with color and make adjustments to. So it's not just a click of a button. So to make this a vector, to vectorize it, I had to go in and manually create and trace and adjust edit points and draw all of these different areas so that I can click on any part and change any part of it. All right. Oh, wait, y'all couldn't see that, but yeah. So it has been vectorized. I don't even know why I'm going through all that. I'm just going to close it out. No. Let's see. Could you have done an internal offset to fix the lines? An internal, not necessarily. I probably could have done a regular offset, but depending on how deep some of these areas are, you would still end up with a wave, and I don't necessarily want a wave. So if I were to do an internal offset on this, because this area is thin, it's actually going to make it worse. But that is an option that some will use, to where they would use offset to beef it up and maybe smooth out some of the lines if they were not too deep. In this case, it really wouldn't work for me. What's the best file to save in? There is no best file, because it really depends on how you plan to use it. There are times where I save it as a PDF. Especially if I'm creating templates that I want to eventually take over to Photoshop, or if I need to send it to VersaWorks to print onto my Roland, I'll save it as a PDF. If it is something that needs to, a file that's a vector file so that people can change it and change the colors, I'll save it as an SVG. I typically don't save as a PNG or a JPEG from Silhouette Studio. I will save it as a PDF file, take that over to Illustrator, or take it to Illustrator first, or even Photoshop. You can open PDFs over there, and I will save it as a PNG from those softwares. I don't really care for how Silhouette Studio saves JPEGs and PNGs. If it's like to really, really use, or to like for me to sell, if it's just like for thumbnails and mockups, I do it from Silhouette Studio, but not for any of like my major files. I don't use the save. I don't use the JPEG and PNG settings. Center of rotation has several different uses. We go over that in the 30-day training. I use it for all sorts of things. It doesn't, I mean, at its core, I mean, it just allows you to move where that is. But depending on what I'm designing, it comes in handy quite often. So it's one of my favorite tools. I use it when I'm trying to line things up, like especially like if I'm trying to like recreate letters or recreate certain things. I mean, if I'm trying to square something off, like I use a lot when I am creating my own templates of things and I need to straighten it out. I use center rotation. So like I said, it has a lot of uses and functions. All right. Give me one moment, guys. All right. Huh. And then you guys look over the design and you talk about it before you. Yeah, it's good. And it's a good quality shirt. Yeah, I'm on a live class, so. Okay. Okay. All right. Oh. Oh yeah. Just open the door and put it on in the bed. Sorry about that. That was a client for a design. They had to bring me some pictures. All right. I'm very sure I'm not using my business edition to its fullest potential. I mean, yeah, there are certain tools and functions that will make your life a little bit easier when it comes to business edition. Let's see. Question: is it possible to recreate the tree by using various shapes and moving the edit points? You can. I would not. I mean, with something like this, because it's already okay. I'll do it. All right. Because it was already there, this way was a little bit easier. If I had to just use a shape, I probably would just start with the circle and I would just create edit points and move them around. But there's a lot of like, it goes up high, there's thinner areas. So in being able to trace this, it did make it a little bit easier. But like I said, I could have started with a circle and then just keep adding points and just moving them around. But necessarily like shapes, not really, because if you have a bunch of different shapes, then you have to weld those together and do all these other different things. So that would not be the best course of action for this particular project. Ooh, excuse me. Question: if you are currently using the free version, what would using the free edition, what would recommend upgrading to? So, I mean, my recommendation is always either designer or business. I kind of skipped the designer plus, and it just depends on whether or not you like what features are really important to you. What do you need? If you want the warp tool for tapered cups and things like that, you will need to have business edition. If you want to save as an SVG unlimitedly, because you can technically save as an SVG by saving as a silhouette file and then using a converter site. But if you want to just have unlimited, saves as an SVG or unlimited saves as a PDF that is still vectorized, then you would need business edition. So it just depends on your needs. Incredible morning, Craftastic Tips with Shawnee D. All right. I use, but I'm not sure if you mean, so when you say version, are you talking about which number of all the different versions am I using, or like the edition? Of course, I have business edition. Um, but as far as the version, if you're talking about the numbers, everyone knows, like I'm back at 4.3.370, 4.5 just drove me absolutely bonkers. And there were just too many issues with 4.5 for me. So I am back at version 4.3.370, if that's what you are referring to. Because some people will say version, but they're really asking, am I using like business edition? So edition and then the versions are two different things. If you have a pro, you have to be using it's a certain, I think 4.4 that you have to at least be at. If you have any of the other ones, anything from the original all the way up to the Cameo 4 Plus, you can use any version. But if you have the Pro, you have to be on 4.4, 4.5. Even if it acts slow or acts wonky on your computer, you have to use those you have to be on that version in order to operate the Pro. I don't have a Pro, will never have a Pro, don't recommend it. 10 out of 10, don't recommend. So I'm able to work really in any version. And I find that 4.3.370 is the most stable. It has its issues, but it is the most stable. All right, I think that is everything. We're going to take our transparency down, sample the color, and take our transparency back up. And just to kind of sort of fill it in, I am going to do a slight offset. 0.0125. Let's see what that gives us. So it brought it out a little bit. Apply, hold down shift, click on that middle one. I'm just going to weld it all together. That's going to beef that up. On the layers panel, I'm going to turn off the base layer, and there we have it. So that is that original one recreated, or at least the top. I don't even know what happened to the bottom one at all. Like this piece here, I have no idea what happened to that one. Don't come over here acting like Mac. What the heck was this? Oh, heck, you know. Oh, wow. I normally don't have that happen over here. That's a Mac issue. Okay. I was like, wait a minute now. Don't come over here with the crazy now. Yeah, I don't know what happened to my little piece like this. I have no idea what happened to it. But guess what? Not going to stress it. We're going to go to this layer, and I'm just going to trace it again because I have no idea what happened to it. So we're just going to go back to trace tool, select trace area, and I'm going to put my box okay. Why are you not tracing? I'm on this layer. All righty. Never knew that. That is something new from, oh, wait, this is locked. Duh, Shakia. I was like, wait a minute now. The very top one was locked. So at least the top one has to be unlocked in order for the trace to work. All right. So we're going to go ahead and trace this. I'm going to double click on it and simplify it. I don't need anything that's in here. So we're going to release compound path, hold down shift, click on the trunk, and I'm going to make this a compound path. I'll need it for later on, just not now. I actually don't really like the way the 3 is. And I may end up actually recreating the fonts, the text anyway. So we're going to, let's see, we simplified again. Yeah. So I just have to go in and clean it up. All right. Just more point editing. So if you have any questions, now is a great time to post those questions because it's just much of the same as far as point editing. Now this, I need to reduce my transparency because I actually need to see where, I want to see where the edge of this is. Because this actually does have like some movement to it. So I want to see all of those areas. Like in here, I want it to go up and into that area. And make sure that you guys are charging for this service based off of, you know, your skills, your pricing structure and things like that. Make sure that you guys are charging for this type of service when you have to go in and do this, do the work to recreate your client's file. This is not ready to print, ready to use. You're having to modify it and, you know, spend time designing it. So make sure that you are being compensated for your time. Oh, yep. I had the top layer. I forgot I locked the leaves and the leaves were on top. I was working at the time on the trunk, but the leaves were the top one and that one was locked. So when you want to trace, your top layer has to be unlocked. But because I did it backwards and I had the leaves above the trunk or the tree part, I didn't think about the fact that I had the top layer locked because I was working on a layer. But being able to do things like this makes it to where you don't have to, you know, turn down a job where you're like, okay, nope, I can't use this. Some people, you know, I mean, if you are not used to this and you're not going to be able to do this within the time frame that they need it, you know, it's okay to either you know, decline the job or outsource it and get someone else to clean the file up. And whatever that person's fee is, make sure that you do charge your customer that. But sometimes files can be recreated or fixed and cleaned up so that they are usable. Just make sure that you are not eating that cost as far as the time that it takes to do it. If you have to do this, make sure that you are being compensated. Know that if time allows and if their budget allows, files can be recreated. It's just going to take some time. All right. Oops. Delete. I actually meant to do this as a corner and not a rounded edge. I don't really like the way that looks, but that actually is how it looks right there. It just looks a little weird to me. So we are going to take some creative liberty here and we're going to extend out this trunk, this root. Because that just looks better than that little stumpy root that was there. Yeah, like that. Probably needs to add a little bit more wave to it. Yep. And maybe. All right. So there is that, basically recreated in a format that's going to be a lot cleaner for these DTF prints. And we're gonna have nice clean lines on this. And now I will, so I'm gonna just turn this back on and trace out. So I can either retype it or I can trace it for all of the words. And I shouldn't have to do very much as far as editing those areas. So trace, select trace area. Oh, wait a minute. Am I locked? We're going to go up to here and select trace area. We have to take our threshold up. And trace. Click on that trace. Fill it in with some color. Release. Oh, Jesus. Ooh. Oh, my leaves. Duh. So even though the bottom layer is locked, it will still trace it. Yes, I've learned so much from you. Ah, thank you. You are my go-to for understanding designing. Ah, that is a great compliment. I thank you very much. Ooh, this might be a little jagged. Ooh. Oh, no. It is very jagged. I gotta check the one at the top. That is extremely jagged. Oh, no. Okay. I am most likely going to suggest that we use a different font because what Shakia is not about to do is because this would be too much to clean up. Now, you know what? Let's see something because there are some. I'm going to see one thing before that becomes my suggestion. We're going to place a box. We're going to fill that box in with black and we're going to send it to the back and undo. I need to make my box bigger. Send it to the back. And then trace. Okay, so that's a little bit better. I don't have as many. Maybe one or two little areas that need to be. All right. That worked out a whole lot better. So that was a little trick to where I got a better trace on it because I eliminated the different, like so much variation. So once I made it black, even in those like little gray areas, I'm more so tracing like, because black traces, it's eliminating anything that is light, and it's tracing basically where it was black, and just basically a reverse trace. So that just makes that a little bit better, a little bit easier to work with. So now we're going to release compound path, hold down shift, click on the box to deselect it. I'm going to make compound path for all of the text, and then we're going to delete this. And there we go. That is a much better trace than what was there before. And then, of course, I'll go through and I'll have to, actually, I never did check this up here. Yeah, so that's fine up there. I then have to recreate the recreate this thing in the middle. Oh, I have to do this bottom part. Duh, Shakia. Okay. Yep. So that's it. That is how I recreated this. We were on for about, right now I'm showing like an hour and 28 minutes, between the intro and the sharing, me having to stop for my client, me also basically teaching through this. Let's say if you're skilled in this, this is something that may end up taking you about, like, to this point, anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half. If you're not quite familiar with it, and just kind of with the back and forth, I mean, it could take you 2 hours. But this is something that is great to help you improve your skills. If, like, someone said, if you struggle with edit points, this is, good practice. And even though it may take you a long time, it's just going to make it better for each time after that. So the next time that you deal with edit points is going to work a little bit fast. You're going to be a little bit faster with it. So this probably would have taken me about 45 minutes if I was not on live and didn't have like the distractions and having to start and stop and things like that. How am I going to recreate it in the middle? Basically the same thing. So I'm not going to have all of the shading. So with the one that I create, it's going to be vectorized. It's not going to have all of the shading. But I will end up tracing out this part, this area here. We're just going to use rounded rectangles. This is nothing more than a square. I can just trace this. So yeah, they're not going to be able to have all of the shading. It's just going to be basically solid colors. This is going to be the only thing that's going to probably be a little bit challenging. So yeah, I'm gonna see if I can like find I'm also gonna see first if I can find these elements. Because normally they're just PNGs or JPEGs are just kind of put in there. So I'll see if I can find them. but they have a version of this like on one of their older shirts, and they did not have the shading either. It was just vectorized and it was just solid colors. So I'll probably end up doing it that way. But yeah, I'm not doing all of that shading and stuff. That's just not going to happen, Cap. Any other questions? Oh, it's not a, it looks like a perfect square, but obviously it's not. Because I just did that as a square, and that definitely is not a square. Yeah, it's not a square. I was like, wait a minute now. Oh, yeah. See, that doesn't even line up. All right. So, quiz time. At the top up here, it's basically the same thing that is right here. So, what would you do to be able to get that on the top? Would you go back through the edit points again? What would you do if you had to now create that at the top? Don't all answer at once. Replicate what though? make a duplicate and send it to the bottom. So we're going to make a duplicate of this whole thing and send what to the bottom. Ah, Miss Wood, someone after my own heart that pays attention in class. Exactly. We are going to duplicate this right in the front, so we can copy and paste, so we can use the keyboard shortcut. So we're going to copy, we're going to paste in front, and then I'm going to just change the color so you can see. We're going to flip this vertically so that it goes to the top. We're going to line that up, select the two, and weld. And now we have it at the top. All right, so here we're going to click, bring that up, corner. It's a little bit off, but that means that theirs was probably a little bit off. Yeah. So see see the good thing about recreating this? Theirs was actually off. Their point wasn't centered. Now it is completely centered. I am going to still lower the tip of this. Oh, wait, hold on. We're going to come in some. So it's not going to be quite symmetrical because I'm adjusting this. I didn't realize I was off a little bit when I lined it up, which means this part is probably also going to be off. Okay, that's okay. I'm just going to bring this in. I didn't zoom in, so that was my fault. I didn't zoom in to make sure that it was lined up. Actually, let's make sure that that's even the center of this. Uh-oh. And once this is all said and done, I'm actually going to move this over because it's actually not centered on. I see that they were trying to line this piece up with the middle here. It's not very centered. It's too close. So if anything, to end up modifying this, I would double click here. We're going to select all of the edit points, like kind of like sort of in this area. And I would shift that and then move this. Oops, hold on. Shift it all and then move this back over. and probably move, oops, this side up some. Oh, come on. Just so that it's a bit more centered. So that's also the joy of recreating this. You can make it work a little bit better. Okay. All righty. But for the sake of this, well, I actually don't have to. I can just move the back one over. Um, or I could, like I said, put it back, create it, and then because I've moved everything else, I could then adjust it afterwards. But yeah, so that's that. All right. If there are no other questions, thank you guys so very much for joining me this morning. Don't forget Essential Silhouette Studio. You can't wait to see if my Heat are going to win tonight, and it will be discounted. If not, you're going to be really upset. But it's worth the price. It really goes over every single tool and function and breaks down its fundamental uses so that you get a better understanding of how the tools work, and then you can start to incorporate that knowledge into different designs. All right, so until next time, guys, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity and be incredible. Peace.